Hi everybody. Just gonna let Facebook share that I'm on. You know, this takes a while sometimes. If you're here, let me know. Today's a really special day. I love angel numbers. You probably hear me talk about angel numbers consistently. They're such beautiful, easy messages from heaven to recognize. So I love when the calendar kind of like lets us see the angel number in real action. It's a cool experience if you're in the know. So let me help you get in the know. If you're here, say hello. Should wait a couple minutes. I meant to bring my angel book with me, which is like all about angel numbers. I mean, I don't really need it because I know what the core 0 through 9 are. So, hi, Miss Monica. Hi, Paula. Welcome. Hi, Amy. I see you're there. Drop some of your favorite angel numbers. Hey, Shayla. How are you? Did you get my message yesterday? Just want to make sure like we're all squared away with that. You should have gotten an email. All right, guys. Well, okay, awesome. Yeah, drop some of your favorite angel numbers down here. I'll explain what all of them are, but today holds a really cool energy. The 222 is an amazing, amazing number. I often see that number on days where I'm really struggling. How cool is that? That's actually also my father's birthday falls on February 22nd. So I was just thinking about that today. Okay. Yes, Shayla, just look for that. Square should have sent you something. It might come from Square, not from us. So just look. So let's talk about what angel numbers are, just in general. So for those that aren't aware of what angel numbers are, they are just like seeing the cardinal. They're just like hearing the song. They're just like the picture falling off the wall. They are messages from not only your loved ones, but your angels. I think sometimes when we lose somebody, we forget that we still have our spirit guides. We still have our guardian angels. We still have these beings of light around us that have existed far beyond our loved ones' existence here. So sometimes it's your loved one, sometimes it's your angel, sometimes I feel like it's just the universe. Excuse me. So the number 222 holds this beautiful energy about keeping the faith. Now, you can say that, right? Keep the faith. I actually just moved that. That's weird. I just moved a picture. It said faith is everything. It's interesting. But keep the faith. And for me, this is more about taking more difficult situations in your life, more difficult energies in your life, putting this beautiful light around them, and having the faith that at some point, that energy is going to rise to that vibration of light. So walking in faith doesn't always have to be a religious way of walking. To me, the word faith talks more about belief. It just talks about us being able to believe that our universe is giving us some pretty powerful symbolism. And it's important for us to recognize that we're not by ourselves here. We aren't these lone rangers over here trying to navigate this human/spiritual experience. There's so much more happening. And I feel like the more we can embrace that faith is really about being in a place where you believe solid light exists, even if you can't see it or you don't know how to get to it. I'm a firm believer that our thoughts totally create our reality around here. I also am a firm believer that our soul was brought to this planet to experience, unexperience, re-experience certain truths that we aren't getting yet. And as a human, we just suck at getting lessons. Anybody want to raise their hand? Okay, Shayla, I'll look again. you want to raise your hand if you've ever fallen into a place where you're completely almost faithless, where you don't know kind of where you're walking, and then all of a sudden it feels like out of nowhere it all just comes together. I'll raise my hand for that. It's beautiful when you decide to choose the faith over the fear. Fear is a really, really powerful emotion and powerful energy that we unfortunately get to experience whenever we want to. Every human has a fear. There is not one human that does not have a fear. And if you don't have a fear, then you're probably dead in heaven with a soul, because your ego is always going to draw fear to you. It's how it works. What's beautiful about today is that we have the opportunity every time we see that date. If one of you are teachers, or someone on here, especially if you're in the medical field, you write dates consistently. You have to date everything. You're always looking at the time and the date in certain careers. You have the opportunity to be reminded today, many, many moments, that the number 222 is coming to all of us to remind us that good things are coming our way, that this year is going to hold a good energy, that we're going to walk through still some tougher times, but it's not going to be impossible. And the more you can embrace that today, you're able to call on this number sequence on days that you're struggling. Don't be surprised if you see it, if you're calling on the energy of it. Even if you don't see it, know that the energy of that number 2 represents the faith that exists within our soulful being that can never be taken, no matter how fearful life appears to be. Sometimes when we're trying to make really tough decisions, the first thing we think about is our fear around it. Not so much the joy, not so much the opportunity for the situation to appear in the way that it is. So I really encourage you guys today, sit in meditation, even if it's for 2 minutes, on that number 222. Think about the faith that still exists around some of the tougher things that you're walking through. There's never going to be a time that your soul does not have this. Our human loses it regularly, and that's why we jump into our fearful voice. But the more you realize that your soul exists within your body and exists within your energy field too, then you can sit in this place and be in such a beautiful space of light and love. So that's a little bit about 222. I saw somebody put on here the number 3. If you guys see angel numbers all the time and you want me to help you identify what they mean, put them on there. So Paula, number 3. So number 3 for me talks a lot about the ascended masters. It talks a lot about having the higher gods and goddesses with you. I often will see that number sequence on days where my sessions or something in my life requires a little bit more. Oh, good, Shayla, hear this one. On the days where your day requires more wisdom, a little bit more than what your soul might be able to lend you, a little bit more than even what your loved one might be able to lend you. Like, you might be kind of, I like to say, sometimes I have to hop to the top of the pyramid. Sometimes I'm like, all right, I can, talk to my loved ones whenever I want to. But some days it's like, I got to jump to like Buddha or Archangel Michael. Some days I got to completely surpass my mother and everyone who loves me in heaven and go to the top, because some days it requires that kind of energy. So when you see the 333, this is just a reminder to you that it's your loved ones coming in that way to show you that you have the ability to talk to these higher gods and goddesses. These energies are sitting here waiting to help you. And Shayla, the number 7, also talks about being on the right path. You often might see this number sequence 777. If you're trying to make a decision, your gut is telling you what you're supposed to be doing, but your head is telling you something different. That number 777 will show up for you. Sort of as like a reminder to say, do you know what always follow your intuitive gut. That's what's the right voice all the time. Some other number sequences, people come to me and always say, why do I always see 111, 1111? Every time I look at the clock, every time I pick up my phone, every time I look at a license plate. Who sees number 1111? Raise your hand over here. I see it all the time. So that's a very common, that's just someone commenting on my post. The number 111, 1111. See, my day started like shit the second I opened my eyes. Oh, Vanessa. Hey, this is a perfect day to call on that energy of the light and the love that surrounds that wonderful wake-up call. Number 111 talks a lot about staying in communication with your soul, but also remembering that your thoughts create your reality. So Vanessa, I'm going to use as a perfect example. Your day started off really crappy, because there's crappy situations that are going to happen every day. If you're living on the earth, you can't avoid the crap. Like that you can't. What you can choose to do, even if you're sitting in the muck of it, is choose to ask the energy of the 111 or the positivity or the faith or whatever word you want to attach to it, just to hang with you while you're in the pits about it. And what happens is your energy doesn't have a choice but to sort of rise up to that vibration. So the 111 is a really beautiful number symbol to those who are A, empathic, B, extremely sensitive. You might see this number sequence in abundance, especially when it just sometimes happens too, is empaths, we're always giving for other people. Like we're always holding space for other people. We're always allowing others to grow. We're always giving space for that. We're not really great at doing that for ourselves. So we're kind of impatient with ourselves, most likely. If you're an empathic person, you can totally relate to this. At times we forget to almost, I guess, pray for ourselves or focus on ourselves too in some way, shape, or form. So sometimes that 1111, 111 sequence will come around just to remind you that you're also as important as your friend or your child or your spouse or your dog or your cat or your job or your patient or whoever it is that you are putting so much energy into. It's like a reminder too, like, oh yeah, I matter. And so sometimes that number sequence comes up for that. Does anybody here see the number sequence 444? 444 is a really awesome number sequence. I actually started seeing this number sequence right after my mom died. Didn't know what it meant, but actually the number 444 talks a lot about the angels. Now these are more like your guides. These are your guardian angels. These are more of those higher beings that we often forget exist around us. The 444 talks a lot about when you see that number in abundance like that, a triple or sometimes a quadruple, almost remember that the more fours you see, the more your angels are begging you to hand over your worries to them. They can transmute energy and they can transmute things way better than we ever could. It's how it is. They use different vibrations that we just don't have in the human existence. So look for that number sequence, or if you happen to see it in abundance, it's your actual spirit guide saying, hey, you keep reworking a situation in your head and you can't figure it out. Can you please give it to us? Can we help you figure it out? That's like their way of like begging you, kind of, as a human. What other number sequences do you guys see? Sometimes people will see their loved ones' birthdays or their birthday. How many of you see your own birthday in number form? So whether it's like for me, it's 827. I see 827 on the clock consistently. I see 827 on license plates. I often will go to group readings and somehow it's 827 is the house number. 827 on order numbers. Well, today is 87, but 827. Okay, so Dawn, I just talked about 333, so when I'm done with this, Jeff as well, go back and listen. So if you see your birthday consistently, for me, I've asked my mother, why do you send me my birthday? Like, what's important about my birthday? And for her, she always wants to remind me that it's a place of celebration. You often will see your birthday when you're not celebrating your life. So you might have given up a hobby you love. You might have canceled a trip that you've always wanted to go on because whatever. You might not be serving your own soul. That number is just to remind you to celebrate being alive. Being alive is really hard. It's one of the hardest existences to live, I think, being human. The trade-off is we get to see things from a different perspective being human. And I think it does lend us a different lens than the light, but it gives us perspective. Imagine if you never knew what really good was or really happy was because you lived in that. Like, imagine if you didn't know or couldn't decipher that feeling, that's what felt so good. When you are in the light, you are that. There's no perspective. So some of the harder days we've had to walk as human, to me, are worth it if I can feel happy, if I can know what that even means. I think I saw Shayla 0329. So this could mean a few different things. This could mean March 29th. Sometimes these are dates on the calendar. We talked about the 3 already. We talked about the 2 already. So the 0 for me talks a lot about staying connected, that you're continuously connected with your loved ones and with your angels, and there's no interruption in connection with your soul. And then 9 talks about being a light worker. How many of you are empathic beings? Probably everybody. I see there's 15 people watching. I'm pretty sure every single person here is an empathic being. Oh, okay. So Shayla, so hear that message about you. If you're seeing it in abundance, there's probably something about your life that you're not celebrating. Just take a step back and say, what have you been depriving yourself of very often? Oh, look at all my empathic peeps on here. I know. Isn't it fun? Isn't it fun feeling everything to the 90th degree and almost nobody understanding what you're talking about 95% of the time? I get it. All right. So, Jeannie, we just talked about 444, 734. So, Sharon, if you look at 734, the number 7 talks about being on the right path. The number 3 asks you to use your higher angels, your higher beings, to help call in the energy. And number 4 talks about making sure you're checking in with your angels. Make sure you're checking in with your guides. So many of you, our spirit guides get so mad at us because we seriously never call on our spirit guides. We're always calling on, for me, I'll just use myself as a perfect example. I'll call on my mom before I call on my spirit guide, when really my spirit guide is the one that helps me connect to her. My spirit guide's the one who's actually knows my soul actually longer than my mom did. So it's almost like it's not my angels, like, your spirit guide isn't like mad at you, but they're like, hey, we're here. We chose to come back. I'm going to do another class on angels because people always have questions about like how you become a spirit guide and all the different realms and how it all works. And it's too much to do here, but they basically chose your soul. They were ready to stay in the light and they chose your soul to follow for your lifetime down here. So yeah. So just know that when you start to see these angel numbers, you're not going crazy. It's not by coincidence. A lot of people say, well, I mean, license plates, you know, they're numbers. Yeah, they're numbers. I'll give you that, right? I'll give you that it's a number. But how weird is it that, perfect example today, I have seen 1111 behind almost every single car I've found myself on. I've traveled from Salem to New London, down through Groton, and now to Mystic. I've been around a lot of cars, and the 111 symbol has followed me. I was texting somebody, and at 1111 is when it sent. So that number sequence is following me today. Probably means that I need to step more into my positive energy. What kind of day do you want to have today? If you want to have a crappy day, absolutely start thinking and calling in lower energies. You will. If you want to have a day that started off on the wrong foot, but you're looking for the right foot, acknowledge that the right foot exists somewhere, and your eyes are going to be actually looking at a higher vibration than what might actually still be happening. I see words in my, yes, Maria's like, if you follow Maria on Facebook, she literally posts license plates like I've never seen before. I wish license plates talked to me like that. I almost feel like the other side will do whatever they have to do to get our attention. And starting your day off on the wrong foot, it may be a bad day. Bad days exist. I will be the first healer to tell you bad days exist. That does not mean it's a bad life. It means it's a bad minute. It might be a bad hour. It's not even bad. It's just difficult. Who here kind of started off funky today? Or let's just say this week, because we're already what? In Wednesday? Today's Wednesday. We're supposed to get snow on Friday, which means the kids probably aren't going to have school. So my week's over tomorrow, but 9/11. Okay, so 9/11 can mean a few different things, Kelsey. 9/11 for me is like my emergency number. It's not that the other side is trying to scare you or tell you something bad's going to happen. It's almost like they're really trying to get your attention, and there's probably something in your life that you've been denying. And it's like they need you to call the 911 so you can get your first responders. 911 is also my angel number for Archangel Michael. I have a couple archangels that when I'm in a jam, I'm in an emergency, or somebody I love or care about is in some kind of, I call on Archangel Michael. I use this as a perfect example when my mother-in-law was crossing and we weren't expecting it. My husband and I were there, and we're kind of just like, anyone connected to Marvin, the name Marvin? Anyways, I just went by. During the whole process, I was calling on Archangel Michael. I called on the 911. Not the 911, something bad was happening, but the 911, like energetically, I need you to come into this room and I need you to help me out. And I felt his energy come in immediately. So it's more of just an alert. Like the angels are like, you can dial us up whenever you want, but there might be something in your life you need to talk about right now and get it off your chest. Jason, 825. So the number 8, if you turn that sideways, is my infinity symbol. Some people who have the number 8 attracted to them in this plane, whether it's a birthday, might be the day someone's born, you might just connect with the number 8 in general. The number 8 for me is also my transformation. There's probably something in your life that's transforming, right? And that 2 being in the center, there's probably pieces of this transformation that you don't understand yet or that are driving you crazy. The number 5 talks about things changing very quickly, like just like this. So if you put that whole sequence together, it's probably the universe trying to give you a situation that's changing quicker than you would like it to, whether it's good or bad. This isn't about like good and bad. This is just like energy kind of floating in a particular direction. Your energy is resisting it because it's going way too fast for your own comfortable being. And that number 8 is almost kind of reminding you, but this is what's going to transform you into your next space, whatever that is. So when you start seeing that number sequence in abundance, this also could be your angel's way of just reminding you that the number sequences are here as just like not a thorn in your side, but just like a poke to say, listen, we know things are changing quicker than you want them to. You're not comfortable with that. But everything that's transformed you, and I feel like, Jason, this might be specifically for you in particular, everything that's transformed you kind of happened immediately. Like it wasn't like a lot of the deeper truths you've been dealing with or you've had on your path as like a soul, it happens, or it feels like it happens overnight. So this might be opportunities that literally just are there. And you're like, where did that come from? Or more difficult situations that literally just landed on your plate. And you're like, where did that come from and why me? So call on the energy of that number. You can always call on the energy of all these numbers. All right. Isabel, 747. Well, we talked about the 7s, right? Being on the right path. That number 4 in the center for me talks about your angels trying to remind you the path before and the path in front of you are both guided. So 747 holds actually a pretty significant meaning where my belief is you're never on the wrong path. I believe we're presented free will as humans, but I don't believe we're ever on a wrong path. I believe every choice we make creates another path for us that was actually the one we were supposed to go on. So to me, that number sequence feels that your angels are sort of sitting in the crossroads, sort of like that cross. Who has the cross necklace here? Somebody has a cross necklace. Might be from somebody in spirit. But what I'm seeing is the angels sitting in the center of the cross. So just sort of saying, listen, we have our eyes on your past and how it's going to build you. We also have our eyes on your future, which is how it's going to enhance you. So, all right. 744. Maria, so think about this. So I just talked about, what was it? 747. 744 might be the 7 is in front. So the 7 might represent, and I'm kind of feeling this for you really strong right now, actually. Jason, is your mom crossed over? This is what happens. The 7 is the path before, and I feel like for you, Maria, what the angels are really trying to remind you is that they're surrounding the future path, but there's things about the past or that path before that you don't understand, that you're still holding on to, or that you are gripping in a way, or you're trying to hold on to something that kind of no longer exists. That number sequence for you might mean more like, we need you to know it's okay to let go of your past, but call on the angelic realm to be the ones to guide you to the next road. All right, Jason, this might just be something. Do you have a cross necklace from somebody in spirit? Is there something about that? So when I saw the cross, I saw you. I saw your name. So I don't know if that makes any sense. Jenny, 230. So 230, think about number 2, keeping the faith around things. Number 3, the ascended master is in the center. And then that 0, that you're forever connected. So for me, keeping the faith more about the past. You've walked through some very difficult situations, even recently. I feel like this is like recently. And I almost hear like your guides really trying to say to you, it actually isn't as bad as you are taking it on to be. Jason, that's for you too. Your reality really isn't as skewed as your ego is making it. It's actually pretty simple. It's just a truth you're not used to yet. That's what I kind of hear for both of you. It's interesting. Okay, Peyton, Nicole, 1, 2, 3, 4. So when you see number sequences in abundance like this, so it's almost like 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7. I almost feel like they're trying to show you more of a sequence of time. Like everything is in order. So the truths of 1, 2, 3, 4, we kind of already talked about the 1, 2s, 3s, and 4s, but like it's almost like just being across the board, like everything is in order. Don't freak out or question what you know about order. But it's in the universal order. So I always like to say, people who are very linear, I have people come into this office who are very linear in their thinking. So they're like, well, I didn't see a cardinal, but somebody gave me a cardinal necklace. Does that still mean she's sending me the cardinal? Because I didn't see the actual bird, right? We're very good at being linear. And that's how that's why the world actually runs. If everybody, I always say this too, if everybody was empathic, like, and I'm going to say this, and I'm not a very political person, but if empaths were in charge of the country, we would have problems because empathic people don't necessarily run on anything linear. We are all over the place. We are creative people. I love something on Monday and then I can't stand it on Tuesday, and I'm okay with that. But like, you can't run a democracy on like, well, today we're gonna make this a law, and then tomorrow, like, oh no, energy's not there today, so we're just gonna totally pretend that doesn't exist. But with that said, the universal laws run like empathic people. So sometimes the universe starts at the end of your story, or what you think should be the beginning, but it's actually the end, and works its way backwards. Sometimes it starts right in the middle. Sometimes it's all over the place. So just remember, when you're working with energy, it's never a linear situation or conversation. Oh, I gave you a cardinal, Miss Monica. Well, you know, some of my own symbols I don't even know. You're very welcome, Sharon. Andrea, I put a necklace of someone who passed it. Okay, beautiful. So Andrea, just know this is just some validation. That could be some just added validation from that person in spirit. But yeah, if you're running on a linear, or if your brain is very linear and you're empathic, you're going to have the most uncomfortable conversations with yourself. And that's why you feel like a hot mess, because it just doesn't make sense. And I get it. I get it. So yeah, this was just a little, let's see, what time is it? I have a reading coming up, so I have to go. But, this is just a little information about angel numbers, and be on the lookout for them. They are everywhere. I think somebody had put on here, they found a dime. If you ever find change, or you find monetary value, look at the number that is. I find quarters. 25 is when my mom died. She died on the 25th. So she often will send me quarters more than dimes. Sometimes I'll see dimes, but for me, the number 10 also has a different significance. So just sort of be aware that your angel numbers are always around, whether you see them or not. If you ask your higher self to help you become more aware of them, you will start seeing them for real. And just know that you are very surrounded, very supported, and very loved. And this path that you're walking right now doesn't have to be easy to be beautiful. To me, pain lends its own beauty. Without pain, you would not know how to navigate happiness, even though we have no clue what the hell we're doing when we're in pain either, just because empaths don't run on pain. But we kind of do if you think about it. Because as an empathic person, you probably find yourself wanting to heal people, which means somebody's probably in pain in some way, shape, or form. So hope you guys have an awesome rest of your 2/2/22 day. Remember that today's energy just holds a lot of hope for us as a human race and as empathic people. I always like kind of sometimes fantasize about like when I'm over there on the other side, like all the empathic people I'm going to get to meet, or people I didn't know existed down here that were empaths. I feel like we all like hang out like in our own like little like crystal garden in heaven. Like all the empaths, like there's like a empathville or something. And so all the empaths just like gravitate towards these amazing crystals and water and fire and fairies and color. And there's like, you know, I could go on and on and on. Anyways, thank you guys so much for coming on today and joining me. If you guys ever have any questions or are interested in looking up your angel numbers, use Google. If you have no clue, use Google. There's lots of different interpretations. I've just been able to kind of, as a healer, I see them so much that I'm able to kind of make my own, for me, what they mean. So thank you guys for joining me today. I hope you all have an awesome rest of your day, and we'll talk soon.